presentation is brought to you by Ali and Adele. We will be discussing the Attic red figure, Volute Crater, a mixing vessel featuring a narration of Amazons, Peleus, and Thetis. These are the pictures of us in front of our pot at the Getty Villa, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This vessel was used as a mixing vessel in which they diluted wine with water. There are multiple ratios possible depending on personal preference and resources available at the time. A source found, written by Toby Schreiber, claims that the ratios could vary from 1 part wine to 1 part water, or 1 part wine and 10 parts water. It just depends on the person. It was created in Athens, Greece, around 500 to 480 BC. The reconstruction of the pot was originally piecing 2 different pot fragments together. In 1977, Gordon McLendon donated the pot to the J. Paul Getty Museum. But ultimately, in 1980, the Louvre lended the correct fragments to the Getty Villa, where it was then correctly reconstructed to what it is today. There are still missing fragments on side A. Greifenhagen reports seeing Nicholas Koudalakis with some fragments in Geneva, Switzerland, in fall of 1971. It is noted that there could still be fragments connected to this pot that are held in collections all around the world. The Kleophrades painter was named by association with the Kleophrades potter. In this time, it was hard to identify things based off of the fact that the artist didn't usually sign their work, but we can identify it through the stylistic elements such as pictorial subject, characteristic detail, and modern location associated with the vases. This specific painter was known for his intricate detailing of the black figured pots shown on the Volute Crater pictured here. He was known for his ability to create intricate narratives in a triptych form, which was shown by the different sections that depict different scenes. It is also important to note the use of a frontal-facing figure, which was a common stylistic method of the Kleophrades painter, shown here with the figure of Atlas on the lower zone of side A. Craters were formed in 2 to 3 sections, depending on the size of the crater. The Volute crater was unique because of the swirled handles that represented Ionic capital by relating it to the epistyle, frieze, cornice, and ornamented architrave. The firing techniques were what allowed for the intricate black figure detailing, which was created by painting slip in certain areas of the pot and using charcoal to trace out sketches of the figures, which would then be burned away in the kiln. The temperature changes and the opening and closing of air valves within the kiln were what differentiated the colors of red and black on the pot. Along with this, there was a long cooling process as well, and the finishing element was the sealing of the inner part of the vase, which allowed for the sanitary mixture of wine and water. The stylistic elements of the specific Volute crater were very strong indicators of the popular column styles of the time, which is where we get the spiral scroll-like carving of the handles inspired by the Ionic capital we mentioned before.
Now we'll be showing you the narration of the pot starting on side A, pictured here. So to begin, the upper narration focuses on Amazoniki, which is a mythical battle between the Amazons and ancient Greeks or hoplites. Starting on the upper left side, despite there being missing pieces, we know that it is depicting an Amazon carrying a comrade that is either wounded or dead. There is an identifiable difference in the attire worn by the 2 opposing groups, shown in their helmets, where the painting begins again. It shows Heracles wearing a lion skin, killing off one of the Amazons, and it shows Amazons ready to spear him, and some are even armed with arrows moving towards him from the right. Ajax is the soldier with the bull shield, and the centaur shield is held by an Amazon. Now to move on to the lower zone, this scene depicts the labors of Heracles. To begin on the left, it shows a small fragment of a female foot, which is thought to be Athena, backing her prodigy Heracles. There is a portion of a large 9-headed monster called a Lernaean Hydra being fought with by Iolaus, who is trying to burn the heads off of the monster. Then it shows Heracles fighting another monster called a Geryon, and then a double-bodied dog lies at his feet, already slain. Athena is depicted again as a transitional figure into the next labor of Heracles. It shows Heracles picking a golden apple from a tree, wrapped around by a monstrous snake. Atlas to the far right is shown as the frontal-facing figure mentioned before. Now to start on side B, The upper zone depicts Amazons preparing for battle. It begins with the Amazons practicing and preparing their skills for battle, such as spearing and archery. There's a transitional figure between the two pairs that indicates the difference between the training and the movement towards the battle that is seen with the leading of horses. There is one figure holding a salpinx, which is a trumpet-like instrument which indicates the commencement of battle. Now, the lower zone is Peleus seizing Thetis, which is an abduction scene. Geryon, Peleus, and Thetis are placed in the center of this scene, surrounded by other figures identified as Doris and two Nereids. They are witnessing and fleeing from the abduction. Thetis is being wrestled by Peleus, and in the missing fragments there would be a scene of a metamorphosis of Thetis as a snake, coiled around Peleus' leg, the centaur watching and facing the scene. Now that we have addressed the subject of the pot, we can explain how it was socially important. Although we could not find a direct connection between images and its function as a mixing vessel, we can assume that it was used as a conversation starter in a higher class home. In the event of mixing wine, it would have been used for an event where there was a gathering of people or a dinner, and its subject would have brought people together. It featured prominent heroes and figures that would have connected the groups through their culture. In conclusion, being able to physically see the pot we studied in person and knowing its significance in history was truly an amazing experience. It is obvious how having this piece in one's home during this time period would have made a monumental statement which carries into our current world, allowing us to study it today. Thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed.
And here's our works cited page.